This podcast is brought to you by Voice and Vision, bringing help, hope, and healing to individuals, families, and communities affected by mental illness, addictions, and disabilities in southeastern Pennsylvania.
Welcome to Untold Valor, a podcast with a unique focus on veterans, featuring stories of courage, recovery, perseverance, and strength. Listen to hear veterans share their perspectives on what it's like to battle mental health challenges, combat addictions, and overcome other adversities unique to those who have served.
It's time for another edition of Untold Valor, Veterans Recovery in Action. And this week on the podcast, Clarence E. Jones Jr. is going to be joining us, talking with us a little bit about support services for veterans' families and what he does. So we're looking forward to having that conversation. Reverend Ben is here as well, as always. So we're going to dive right in and get started. Ben, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How you guys doing today?
Doing very well. Glad to be here with you once again. Clarence, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Looking forward to hearing your story a little bit and telling us about some of the work that you're doing now. So we'll just kind of set it up as I always do. Tell us a little bit about, you, how you kind of, a little bit on your backstory and then how you got to where you're at now. And then we'll dive into what you're doing for other veterans.
My name is Clarence E. Jones Jr. I'm originally from Baltimore. What I usually do is I went to the military. I went to boot camp, Marine Corps boot camp in 93.
Okay.
There for a while. And I ended up getting hurt, medical honorable discharge in 2000. I signed up to be a lifer, but, things wasn't, in my cards.
Life had other plans, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting into, IT. I love IT and stuff like that. Got degrees in that and things like that. But something that was in my heart is to help people. That's one reason I went to the Marine Corps. And that's why I got into this kind of services. So I did a lot of different kind of social service programs to help people out. Not just veterans, but just anybody in general that need my help. And what I really like about helping people is just that's the kind of person I was and still is, and that's how my parents raised me. Well, a lot of people around here call me like Superman.
well, that's good.
But the good part about it is it's not the man. Superman is the symbol. So when you look at the symbol, it stands for hope.
That's
help
right.
People who can't be helped, or be that shield for the person that don't have that shield.
There you go.
And I fall into the line of that, and that's when, like I said, I jumped into this field and sky's the limit.
Well, let me ask you a couple back questions here. So obviously you said you're in the Marine Corps and you planned on being a lifer, but life got in the way there. So you wound up getting being discharged medically. Was it a tough transition period for you, especially because you wanted to be a lifer? Did you struggle with that a little bit? And if so,
Yes.
How'd you work your way through that?
Okay, so what happened with me was like the time that I was in, it was a little bit different than the times now. And I'm not saying like what the veterans is going through, but it's just like the time period was different.
Sure.
So when I got out,
well, yeah, the 90s and now are totally different, aren't they? That's
right.
for sure. Yeah.
So it was almost like when you hear people nowadays, give us things of saying like, thank you for your service. That's how they kind of treated us when we finished. It was like, okay, thank you for your service.
Right.
So, but at least now is a lot of like right now, I wish I knew a lot of the stuff that I know now back then, that I would have been like super ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the only thing they said to me was, okay, so you get out, you're hurt, go to the VA, talk to the medical, and that's it. Then they tell me about like the rope rehab. Then they tell me about Dave. Then they tell me about the housing loan. Then they tell me about SSVF or VMC and, different programs and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
That was my journey.
So you kind of learned through the hard knocks of it, right? You kind of had to learn the hard way. And so then when you kind of decided to make that transition and get into the field that you're in now, it kind of gave you that resource to say, okay, look, let me try to help some other folks figure some of these things out. Ben, that's basically what you did as well, right? You learned it the hard way.
Exactly. I came out, I was unaware of what was available to me. I didn't think there was anything available to me until I got around some older veterans who experienced and told me, and I began to pursue. And I thank God I did when I did, because I was one of those Camp of June veterans that got that cancer. So I got a lot of good information out of that.
So Clarence, tell us a little bit about what is the CAADC, and that's a mouthful, and then the SSVF.
CAADC stands for Community Action Agency of Delaware County.
Okay.
It's almost just like how the SSVF is, but this deals with everybody in Delaware County. What it does is it helps them with rental arrears, security deposit, PICO or Aqua. If you need shelter, shelter situations. It's a full circle to help the Delaware County. You have to be a Delaware County resident, but it helps Delaware County residents, go through times or help them succeed in times, that's going on now.
Is this primarily for like homeless situations, veterans that are needing help in that area, or is it all different kinds of areas?
So now let me just let you know this. Okay, that part was the civilian side.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what happens is the SSVF, the Support Services for Veteran Family, what that does is a veteran can come in or get a referral from the VA. They could be homeless, street homeless, or maybe they got behind on their bill, like their rental arrears or PICO or, things like that. Mm-hmm. Or they just need to get, because we just found out, we have a program, not us, but the VA have a program called HUD-VASH. That's like a Section 8 for veterans.
Gotcha.
So we have different programs that we can help. We just have to, get a copy of the D-214, or we run them through our system called Squares, just to make sure they're eligible for certain programs, and then we can assist them. Also, we can help them, like we have to write a letter to PA Wounded Warriors because you need a sponsoring place. To write these letters. It's like you can't just go there. You got to have somebody write it for you.
Oh, okay.
So
Makes sense,
we assist with that. If they need to know more things about different benefits due to VA, we can send them to the VTA system up in Media Courthouse. We have like the homeless set aside team. We have little contacts in the VA, Coatesville, because we deal with like mostly the Coatesville, the VA. But we do talk to Philly and all that, but we really deal with Coatesville because they're the ones that deal with the Delaware County.
Gotcha. And so when veterans come to you looking for mm-hmm. help or assistance, what are some of the main things that people are struggling with? What are some of the main points that they're looking for some guidance on?
Sometimes it's basically like income, like their income, they lost their income or their income dropped or they need help trying to get income.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of veterans with that situation. So that leads to the rental arrears, that leads to PICO bills, that leads to homelessness. And sometimes we help out with security deposits. So if they do have some kind of income and they can afford the place and things like that, mm-hmm. we can help them with the security deposit as long as they qualify for the services.
Gotcha.
Do you also help veterans that have mortgages?
What I can advise you to do, questions like that. The good part about SSVF, we do have contacts with different people. So what we can do is we can get in contact with VTA, that's the VSO, and the Media Courthouse. They can assist with that because they can assist with other things that we can't. So they can assist with maybe with mortgage or something going on with your furnace or car repairs, things like that. But you have to do their qualifications also.
So for your own kind of, personal situation, Clarence, as you've, kind of made that transition, and obviously it was many years ago, but you've made that transition and you've been, helping other veterans. Do you kind of find that it was helpful for you to kind of go through that process and you're able to, kind of save people, I guess, some of the time and pain because you have experienced it?
Yes, because first I can come to them, like a veteran come in. And most of some of these services, I'm just going to say civilians work there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
A lot of red tape too, I'm sure, right? And a lot of red tape right. You got to navigate, yeah.
And so what happens is I'm like a fresh air that I come in and like, hey, I'm a veteran also. Mm-hmm. So when they talk about the VA, like the medical system, I can talk to them about it. If they need to know about other programs, I know that. So it's like they're talking to another person that understands them. But the good part about it is I'm glad that I went through my struggles in the beginning of not knowing, because now I'm knowing and I'm shining that beacon for everybody. I'm like, you can do this. Let's do this. And I'm finding out more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So like in the Marine Corps, we don't leave anybody behind. So I'm not leaving any veteran behind that we can help.
Makes sense.
If you can't help yourself, that's not up to me. That's up to you. But I'm here to lay in the hands to help you.
Did you have that person when you were making those transitions? You're kind of filling that role now, or no?
No, I'm the one filling that role now because, like I said in the beginning, it was just like a shuffle game.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like go
right.
here, and then you hear word of mouth, but you don't know if it's true or not because you know how sometimes because you've been in military life that whole time. You know what I mean? It was structure. You knew where to go. You knew who to talk to. You knew places not to go, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you get into the civilian world it's not run like military.
Well, there's options everywhere, but at the same time, it's also like you're also kind of butting your head up against the wall, right?
Mm-hmm. Because another thing too is a lot of our veterans look at it like, I don't need you to feel sorry for me.
Right. Sure. And that's not what they're looking for. They're just looking for, hey, I need some guidance here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what happens when a lot of veterans go to a lot of other services besides like SSVF. They look at it like, okay, they feel sorry for me instead of them saying, oh, this is what's going on. Let me show you. Let me take you to here. You need to speak to them. It's almost like...
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you find that veterans wind up saying, you know what, screw it. I'm not even going to bother to ask because I'm just going to get the runaround. I know that we've talked with many people on the show. This is our third season, and we do about 20 episodes or so a season. And we've had a lot of people that say, look, getting that first help was the hardest part because it just seemed like they were constantly kind of hitting that brick wall.
And I say yes, because what happens is you feel like, okay, like I said before, when you're in the military and you give your life, your heart to the military,
mm-hmm.
to the
serve
government.
Your country, yep.
And what happens is something happens to you, you know what I mean? Good, bad, medical, whatever. And you feel like kind of like thrown to the side. So it's almost like I trusted you to get me through, or I trusted you to get me this far. And now when I'm not able to do something from you,
right? Yeah.
Now I'm kicked to the curb. So it's like, that's the first part of it. So you have to reassure them like, listen, I understand. That's why I'm glad I am a veteran. So I can talk to them like, listen, I understand. Yeah. I know what you're going through. Trust me this time. And I'm going to show you why you need to trust me, because I can have this, you know what I mean? And I show them, because sometimes every military person, Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, even National Guard, what happens is they like structure. They like to see what's the next step.
I think most humans do, right? I think right, a lot of humans we kind of need it, but then of course after you've served in the military, especially for any number of years, you kind of really rely on it, right?
Right.
We follow a thing called the SOP.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
Which is not to be confused with SOS.
Right.
From the food standpoint, if you were, I don't mean the SOS as I need help. I mean the SOS. You know what it is on the on the plate. So let me ask you this, Clarence. If people need some help in what you do, right? So if they're looking to reach out to get some help from you and your services, what's the steps for them?
Okay, so what happens is they can come into community action. That's the first step. Once they come into community action or they call in or whatever, if they come in, they could talk to the front desk and let them know, like, hey, I'm a veteran and I need to get help. Once they say that, they'll call one of us down that's in the department. We'll come down, greet you, get your information. You know, you may, because a lot of people don't carry their D214s on.
I was going to say, what forms do they need to bring? Just kind of basic ID, or do they need those as well?
Now, we prefer you to bring your D214. That would be great.
Right. If you got it.
What happens is, as long as we have your IDs and social security cards for you or your family in the household, it's an okay thing because we can get all that later.
Okay.
But what happens is we can use that to run you through our system called Squares. And that system let us know, like, okay, you're honorable, you're dishonorable, or you're eligible for SSVF, VA benefits, you know, things like that.
Gotcha.
So they could do that, or they could call in and they could transfer it to us. Now, if they're homeless, we want you to come in. We want you to come in as soon as possible so we can help you to get you out of that situation. But like if it's like rental assistance or security deposit, something like that, we can always schedule an appointment for you to come in. So it's not a hurry up rush thing for that. It's like we can, tell you to get all the stuff that we need so you can come. But if you're homeless or street homeless, we prefer you to come in so we can hit that ground running.
Gotcha. Okay. And another thing we tend to do here on the program is, from your own personal experience, whether it was your time in service or your time now helping other veterans, what's the message that you would relay? Like what's something that you would have loved for someone to either told you or, that now you want to tell somebody else, kind of words of encouragement or hope or whatever that might be?
If I can start all over from the beginning, and I just got out, I say some kind of reassurance, of saying like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to show you things that you don't know about, just
right.
Trust it. Just trust the system. I know the system hurts you, but trust the system.
And that's tough for people to get to find that level of trust again, right? So that's the challenge.
Right, because going back to my story was when I got hurt in the military. One thing about the Marine Corps, they said they could pull a janitor, They could pull a general, whatever, get an A16 service rifle and go out there and fight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when I talked to my commanding officer, I was like, hey, can I sit behind the desk for a minute, heal, whatever? And he was like, no, we can't do that. We need it. If it was time for you to go, we need you to go, but you can't go. And the words he told me that kind of hit me a little bit so when people say it, I'm happy people say it, but then sometimes I regret it a little bit because what was told to me was, thank you for your service.
Right. Here's the door. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you for your service. And then it wasn't no debrief. It wasn't nothing. It was like, hey, go your next orders to go to your next base that you can discharge. And it's like, all right, see you later. You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to find that all veterans know, like, you have a place, you have a home, you have people here that's willing to help you differently than it was in the past. A lot of things changed. A lot of people heard things and listened to what you said. Just give us the chance to show you what we heard, what you were saying all the time.
There you go. That's a great way to wrap it up. So give it a chance. If you've got some questions, you need some help, of course, we put lots of links in the show descriptions of the podcast, each and every episode that we do, so that way you can reach out to some of these resources. And that's the biggest thing, is oftentimes you just got to, reach out and give it a try, give it a chance. So if you'd like some help, we'll put the information in there from Clarence as well. That way you can reach out to he and his team and see if they can help you with some of the situations that they talked about here today on the podcast. Clarence, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We certainly appreciate it. Great story, and thanks for sharing your time.
And thank you for inviting me, and I'm happy to come back again if you need me.
Absolutely. Ben, thanks for your time as always, my friend.
Thank you, Clarence.
Yeah, thank you too.
Yeah, we'll have that information in there. So again, make sure that you're checking out the different episodes. We've got plenty of episodes to go back through. Subscribe to the podcast on whatever podcasting app you like using. That way you catch new episodes when they come out with some of the great guests that we have here on the show. This has been Untold Valor, Veterans Recovery in Action, and we will see you next time. You've been listening to Untold Valor by Voice and Vision. We hope you found the information and resources discussed today helpful. As always, thank you for listening and for your support. Remember to stay connected with us through our various social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to visit the website, voiceandvisioninc.org. That's voiceandvisioninc.org, where you can sign up for our blog and find free resources and information on upcoming events, webinars, workshops, and get support. You can also access our free help and hope guide for individuals and families struggling with substance use and addiction. If someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help, because you and your life matter. Remember, the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available to you at any time by dialing 988. We are all ambassadors of hope and recovery, and if you want to share your story, please contact us. Compeer Corps is also looking for veteran mentor volunteers and veteran participants. To find out more information about Compeer Corps, please call 610-541-0790. That's 610-541-0790. You can find all the links and contact information for the resources mentioned on today's episode by checking the description and the show notes section of your app. Thank you again for tuning in and for your support. Until next time, this has been Untold Valor.